How's your son's first baseball game?
He did so great. He scored twice and he caught a fly ball. We were so excited.
That's awesome. I'm so glad he had a great game.
Yes.
So Raquel, how did it go with the job competency rubric? I want to know what worked well with the process and what you would like to change.
Well, if I'm being honest, I spent a lot of time completing the job competency rubric. The results were much different than I thought.
What do you mean?
Reading the behaviors in each competency really helped me to interpret what I need to do to perform my job. After I started reflecting on my performance, it was uncomfortable realizing that I'm not at the accomplished level in many areas where I should be. If I'm not at the accomplished level, then that means I can't do my job.
Let's pause for a minute. I appreciate that you reflected honestly, but just because you're at the progressing level doesn't mean you are not competent at your job. It simply means that there are areas where you need to improve. So you may not be at the accomplished level yet, but I believe you can get there. Remember, this process is about failing forward or recognizing where you can improve, then showing that improvement. That's going to be when growth happens.
I understand, but I really felt inadequate every time I scored lower than accomplished. I didn't expect that I would have so many areas that I needed developing.
Keep in mind that the purpose of these documents are for us to align our expectations and our vocabulary. We didn't have that before, so don't be too hard on yourself. Now that you know that the accomplished column is your target area, I have no doubt that you'll start moving upward in that direction. Does this make you feel a little less anxious about this process?
Yes, a little.
Good. I was able to reflect on your performance as well, and we are aligned in many areas. Pull out your self-reflection sheet. Let's focus on competencies where we reflected differently, reviewing one competency at a time, starting with judgment. I rated you at the accomplished level. What about your performance made you rate yourself at the progressing level?
Well, I tend to overcommit myself. I want to be able to help my team, but other priorities take more time. I have a hard time saying no when someone asks me to do something.
I hear what you're saying. Let's look back at the definition of judgment on the rubric.
The ability to form an opinion objectively, authoritatively, and in accordance with established standards.
I've seen you make decisions that are in the best interest of our learners and this department. For example, when you were working on that course, Self-Motivation in the Workplace, there were so many topics that you wanted to include. Instead, you went back to the goals of that course and only included those topics that were going to support those goals. Do you understand why I scored you at the accomplished level?
Yes, I didn't think about how those decisions showed judgment. Should I change it on my sheet?
Yes. That's exactly why we need to have these type of discussions. Tell me about your reflection and planning. I scored you at the progressing level. Why do you feel you're at the accomplished level?
Well, I checked all the items in the accomplished column except the last one, the sets realistic project timelines to achieve goals. I feel like I know what has priority over other tasks and start my work there.
I would agree that you do prioritize tasks effectively and even incorporate the goals as you prioritize. However, these are time management behaviors because the timeline is short term. Planning pertains to long-term tasks that require multiple checkpoints. I would like to see you take the time to create a long-term plan for how you're going to accomplish your goals so that none are pushed back or rushed through. Do you agree that you're at the progressing level?
Yes, this helps. I didn't know the difference between planning and time management. I would agree I need to work on planning.
Good. What about professional development? I scored you at the accomplished level. I see that you scored yourself at the developing level.
Well, I know I ask for feedback a lot from you and my team. I don't feel like I identify opportunities to improve or transfer any new knowledge to the job.
I would also like to see you apply new knowledge to the job. Didn't you recently tell me about how you were able to cut back on the time it takes you to learn a new course? How'd you do that?
I take notes of important points I want to bring up in the class when I'm developing the course materials, instead of waiting until the materials are developed.
Did you know by doing so, you increase your effectiveness as an instructor?
Yes, but I don't feel like I've taken the time to develop myself as a trainer. I want to spend more time researching best practices and watching other facilitators so that I can develop my own style.
I understand, but I don't think that you're failing to do these things. I see where you're developing yourself. How about we meet in the middle and we score you at the progressing level?
Okay.
In all other areas, we are aligned. What were the top 2 areas that you wanted to focus on improving?
I would like to focus on ethics and integrity so I can improve on following through on the promises I make with my teammates. Also, I want to focus on professional development. I am interested in learning more from other trainers outside of my agency. I hope I can learn some best practices that we can tailor to our learners, and I can share these tips with my team.
Do you have any ideas for how you can improve in these areas?
Actually, yes. To build ethics and integrity, I thought about cutting back on my verbal commitments. I need to check my to-do list first. If I don't have another priority, I will add a calendar reminder to complete it by a specific time. Otherwise, I'll just have to say no, which was going to be very hard for me to do.
I understand it's going to be hard, but I think your ideas are realistic. You can definitely do this. Maybe you can use a standard response like, I'd love to help out, but I need to check my planning to make sure I can commit. I'll get back in touch with you shortly. It may also help to explain to your peers that you are working on developing this competency and keeping your word so that when you aren't able to help out, they'll understand why and not get the wrong message.
Yes, I'd like that. I definitely don't want them to think that I'm not a team player when I say no. To develop the professional development competency, I would like to join a professional organization. However, I'm not sure which one would be the best fit for me. I'm looking for one that has a library of resources and development opportunities.
I think that's a great idea. You can even share best practices during our bi-weekly team meetings. I would like to see you add one more area of focus: planning. I think that if you develop yourself in this competency, then it would have a positive effect on the other competencies like innovation and even time management.
How are you going to hold me accountable for developing myself in these areas?
This isn't about me holding you accountable as much as it is about you taking a more active role in your personal and professional development. This is your career. I'm here to guide your efforts and to help you to remove any barriers that come along the way.
Basically, I have these tools so I can hold myself accountable for my professional development.
Yes. Together, we'll use a performance reflection to make SMART goals for your practice plan. These goals are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. SMART goals allow us to measure your success. And then with these goals, we can create a practice plan of ways that you can develop in your target areas that you discussed. How would you make a SMART goal for the ideas that you shared for building ethics and integrity and professional development?
Well, to build professional development, I know I want to join a professional organization soon, like next week.
How would joining a professional organization help you to build professional development?
I wanted to join an organization that has a library of resources. I hope to find ways to apply new knowledge to my position or share ideas with others.
Okay. What about your goal for ethics and integrity?
I can start by sharing my intentions to build this competency. Then I would like to limit myself to committing to one extra task a week.
After you have agreed to one task, what does following up look like?
I can set a weekly reminder on my calendar until the deadline when the task has to be complete. In that way, I can provide updates to my team members.
Good. How will you develop your competency in planning?
I can make a spreadsheet of tasks and include how I plan to accomplish each task and set a deadline.
How will you know that you are successful?
I'll be able to go back to the spreadsheet and determine if I've accomplished the task when I initially planned to. And if it takes longer than expected, I'll reflect on what delayed my progress.
I think it's a good idea to record that information. This way, you can always go back to see how long it takes you to complete each task and then plan accordingly so that whenever you have to complete the same task again, you know what to expect. What questions do you have now that you've taken some time to think about your SMART goals?
Do I need to have one goal for each target area?
Good question. No. You can create a SMART goal for the same competency or a mixture of the three. This will depend on what you want to focus on at the time. We'll continue using your SMART goals to reflect on what's going well and what you would like to change. This is called a plus delta reflection.
Is this the same as what you asked me to do after the self-reflection rubric?
Yes. Before each meeting, I'll ask you to complete your plus delta reflection. I also want to know what your ideas for improvement are and how I can support your efforts. Then, at the end of each meeting, I'll ask you to put your next meeting date. Is this clear?
So, when we meet next Tuesday, I'll have to share my progress towards these goals and include any success or barriers I've had. What if I want to change a goal?
Before you decide to change your goal, keep me in the loop so that we can discuss your progress. This is your professional development, and I want to be sure to discuss any obstacles you face or even celebrate your wins.
Does this mean that everything I do will be tied to these goals?
No, you will continue doing your job, but pay special attention to your target goals. This will also help you connect your job task to the competencies. This brings me to the performance tracker. This will help you to reflect on your performance after you complete a task. Across the top are the position competencies. The left column is where you will write in your task. After you complete your task, you will record the competency level. We will begin by recording your current competency levels based on our dual reflections from earlier. We will begin by recording your current competency level based on our dual reflections here. Do you have any questions so far?
Not yet.
Let's record your current competency levels. Please use your dual reflection page to call out your scores.
For initiative, I have a 2. For accountability, I have a 3. For ethics and integrity, I have a 2. For judgment, I have a 2.
Teamwork and collaboration, 2. Problem solving, 3. Results oriented, 2. Professionalism, 3. Communication, 3.
Customer focus, I have 3. For flexibility, I have a 2. Innovation, I have 2. Manages ambiguity, I have 2. For planning, I have a 2. For professional development, I have a 2. For self-awareness, I have 3. Social awareness, I have a 3. Time management, I have a 2.
Okay, now let me show you how you will complete the matrix on your own. Tell me about a task you had to complete.
I had to find credible sources for a course I'm co-developing.
So I just wrote find credible sources in the task column here. Which competencies were involved in this task? Keep in mind, one task may involve multiple competencies.
Accountability, judgment, and time management?
Yes, I agree with those. What about results-oriented? Let's look back at the rubric for the definition in those behaviors. Reread the accomplished level of this competency and tell me if you think it fits.
Identifies important short-term outcomes, identifies key performance indicators, ranks important outcomes to prioritize tasks, delivers desired outcome, evaluates outcomes. I can see how it would fit because I found sources that were also appropriate for the course and its goals.
Right. So I'll mark that on the sheet as well. Now, looking back at the job competency rubric, what level would you rate yourself in accountability for this task?
I did accept responsibility for my work and found credible sources according to our standards, so I'm at the accomplished level.
Is it possible you could be at the distinguished level?
Assumes responsibility for work and corrects mistakes, works to improve or elevate quality standards of the organization, encourages others to develop accountability. No, I don't really think that applied to this task.
Okay, I want you to consider the fourth level, especially when you've already mastered all of the statements in the accomplished column. I'm going to put a 3 to represent the number of the level where you're at. What level would you rate yourself in judgment?
I decided on the credibility of the sources according to our standards. So I'm at the accomplished level, or a 3 here too.
Okay. Could you be at the distinguished level here?
Suggests improvements to established standards, explains how actions impact others and acts in accordance to established standards and stakeholder interests, encourages others to develop judgment in accordance to established standards. Since I'm working with someone else to develop a course, I share why I chose these sources and how they would benefit the course.
That sounds like you're exhibiting behaviors at the fourth level. Do you agree?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to write a 4 on the tracker. The next one is results-oriented.
I would say I'm at the 3rd level here too, but I could get to the 4th level by working to find ways to shorten the time it takes to find credible sources.
Okay. The last one is time management.
I feel like I had to prioritize my daily task, and I did meet deadlines
In the accomplished column, though the other behaviors are at the 4th level.
Don't forget, when collaborating with someone else on this course, you are positively influencing others to improve their time management skills. Would you agree? I'm going to write a 4 on the tracker here. Let's add another task that you've recently been working on.
I recently taught professionalism in the workplace twice last week.
I'm writing that you taught the course, and I'm going to put it twice on the tracker. What competencies were involved in facilitating that course?
accountability, ethics and integrity, judgment, problem solving, results oriented, professionalism, communication, customer focus, self-awareness, time management.
When you taught the course, did you have the same group of participants each day?
No, it's always a different group, and I never know who's participating or why they're attending the course until after the class has started. Even when I'm at a specific agency, I have to tailor my instruction around different personalities and make quick adjustments to how I present the material.
Which competency do you think this reflects?
Flexibility? Wow, that's a lot of competencies.
Why do you think that is?
Most of the competencies needed for my position are used when I facilitate, and facilitation is a large part of my position. So every time I facilitate, it's an opportunity to build these competencies, right?
Absolutely. These documents will help you to track informal learning opportunities in all areas, not just the ones that you've targeted. Now take some time to reflect on your performance after facilitating this course each time. I see that you recorded identical results each time you facilitated the course. And it looks like your results were a mixture between 3s and 4s. Each time we review this tracker and discuss your performance, I want us to identify the mode. That's the number that occurs the most often. The mode is going to tell us your current behavior level for each competency. So I'm going to write current level in the task column. And we're going to look at the mode for each competency now. In this case, the mode for accountability is 3. So I'm going to write 3 in that column. What is the mode for judgment?
Well, there's 1, 2, 1, 4, and 2 3s. So the mode is 3.
Exactly. I'm going to write a 3 here on the matrix. What about the mode for results-oriented?
Results oriented. It's another 3.
Right. Lastly, what's the mode for time management? There's a 2 from your reflection, a 4 from when you found credible sources, and 2 3s from each time you facilitated the course.
The mode would be 3.
Why?
3 is the number that shows up more often.
That's right. Now I want you to go back and figure out the mode for each competency so we have an accurate current level.
Okay. Initiative. It has a 2 right here, but nothing else. Is it still a 2?
Yes, so because you haven't worked on anything related to that competency, it would still be a 2.
All right.
You're already showing improvement in results-oriented and time management. I expect we'll see more improvements every time we complete and review this tracker.
So every time I complete a task, I need to write it on this tracker and reflect on my performance, right?
Yes. Keep in mind, the numbers may fluctuate depending on the task and how you reflect on your performance. So, how will you prepare for our next meeting?
Well, I'll be working on completing the goals we set, and we'll complete another plus delta reflection. I'll also need to complete the performance tracker for the next week.
Yes. And then I'll provide you with some feedback on your goals. Do you have any additional questions?
Not at this time, but if I do, I'll be back.
My door is always open.